Hello there and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today I have a 1v1 for you on Crystalline Plains with rAndy versus Chisato. You saw Chisato recently in a 8v8 game and they played really well, so when I saw them in a 1v1 versus rAndy, I'm hoping this is going to be a good one for you. So, we've seen this map before, quite common starter here from Chisato. You build the metal extractor here, which is a very high metal extractor with a output of 5 metal. And then you kind of protect it with buildings here, windmills in this instance, so that early raids cannot get in and destroy that metal extractor, which ironically has not been what rAndy's done here at all. So, difference in starts to begin with. Now we are also seeing difference in factories. So we see Chisato playing Cortex on the south side as blue, playing a bot lab, and rAndy is going vehicle. Now I've personally played this level myself on a 1v1s in the recent-ish content creator tournament, and I did what Chisato did and went bots, and because of that I ended up getting harassed by lots of blitzes, and it meant that I couldn't secure these side flanks at all, and it was really difficult, and I ended up losing the fight. So what we expect to see here as we zoom out is both players are basically going to posture for this middle section. Normally they will send their commander to that middle section, and what we will probably see is a substantial amount of flanking attacks round the sides here. Now normally we'll use Chisato's side here. Normally economy for a user gets built in this sort of area here, but because of all the terrain and stuff like that, radar is not necessarily easy to see things coming with all the hills and such. So we'll see what happens, and as we zoom in straight away, we see some early scouts coming out here from rAndy, but Chisato does have plenty of forces nearby to kind of block any sort of harass. So good positioning with his units there, very well done. So they're just probably going to sit in a nearby metal extractors, just trying to cause a bit of expansion problems for Chisato. Meanwhile, rAndy here, both commanders still not left the base, but rAndy does manage to see this unit come round, and the commander will stop any form of harass there. And now with blitzes out already, we'll probably deal with any grunts coming out towards them. If rAndy's paying attention, this grunt will probably not get an engineer in time, but he hasn't noticed it yet. And indeed, looks like Chisato is going to get one engineer here. He may even get a second. And the additional grunts coming in might secure that second engineer kill. It does. That's big for Chisato. rAndy losing 2 engineers this early in the game is quite a substantial hit. rAndy now with 0 expansion whatsoever, and that's gonna hurt. Meanwhile, Chisato has already expanded with 1 engineer to the corner. It is undefended currently, and an engineer towards the middle. Chisato deciding not to leave with his commander yet either, which is surprising. Additional engineer is going out to the left side as well, so Chisato in the lead at this early point, but we are only 4 minutes in. Not much really can be said at this point, and we are seeing a substantial amount of grunts walking right towards rAndy's base here. At the same time, this engineer is going to get mopped up by that blitz as there's nothing to defend it, but I'm more interested in this right here. Single grunt manages to get a metal extractor. rAndy has seen this mass force of grunts coming in. Now with the commander there, it's going to prove difficult to do too much, because he can degun this mass force of grunts if he keeps them in a group like he just did. He is trying to get that +5 metal extractor, which he does do. Surprisingly, rAndy not going in for the degun there, and Chisato sneaking his units actually round all of the windmills. That is a great harass from Chisato here. Taking out the entire economy of rAndy. And that is completely unexpected. Meanwhile, the same thing has kind of happened on this south side. But Chisato manages to secure most of his base. Still keeping that +5 metal extractor. But with wind at 3 at the moment, both players, they're going to start rebuilding. Going to need to build solars. Fortunately enough, wind is going back up, and this is going to slow rAndy down substantially. And he's in a bit of a problem right now. He's at 50% health. What we didn't notice at the meantime, though, is if we quickly zoom out here, the expansion did get taken out of Chisato. And he is just on the same sort of economy as rAndy is. This laser tower will go up, but it's probably not going to be enough. And the self-D is not going to work because the units are too far away. And that's just opened up this entire section to be killed. And Chisato could just build an engineer, leave it there, and move out with his commander to try and secure some of these other sides. But instead choosing not to. This group of grunts here, unfortunately, probably will not be able to do enough damage with blitzes right next to him. Commander is also there. And he'll be better off just kind of posturing outside, I believe, and stopping any form of extraction. Meanwhile, rAndy basically doing the same thing to Chisato on the south side with just 4 blitzes. Now, smart move here. Chisato's commander being repaired. rAndy's commander only at 66% health. Not great. Some expansion here from rAndy. More so than what Chisato has. And yeah, Chisato really needs to get some engineers out and get some Reclaim on the go. Or some economy expansion on the go. And the Resbots will provide him with additional units. Surprising he didn't use one of the Resbots here on that metal extractor. That would have saved him some time. Also could res the engineers that he's got here. But he's choosing to prioritize units instead. And again, these grunts get in behind the defenses and wins of rAndy. Taking out that +5 metal extractor yet again. Chisato with amazing work on his harass here. Now rAndy limited to resources. Saying that, however, he is limited, but he has 4 metal extractors total to the 1 of Chisato currently, about to be a second. Chisato desperately needs to start expanding, otherwise his advantage that he had is going to go up in smoke. As we quickly take a second to look at the stats here, even with the amount of raiding damage that Chisato has done to rAndy because of the expansion, rAndy is almost 1,000 metal ahead of Chisato. So Chisato desperately needs to get his expansion up, needs some units to defend, and he needs to keep up with that harass. He really should also debate moving his commander out, because he needs to be able to defend other locations, and as long as he's got units in his base and laser towers, he should be fine. We've got a double attack going on right now. We've got some units in the top here, and at the same time, rAndy is preparing an attack force to hit those double mexes just outside of the base yet again. And that's going to happen first. And for some reason, he controlled the mechs there. Not sure why he did that. And the armed laser tower will do a decent job at harassing again. An engineer moving out on its own just gets wiped out. The armed metal extractor does do the job of keeping things alive. Now, that assault force that was walking around did do a good job. Took out a couple of metal extractors. Now is moving towards the base. Is he going to take it into the base and get rid of the factory? No, he's decided to go south, get this double mechs and the laser tower that is there with it. rAndy in a tough spot now, has no units to defend this, and with being vehicles, does take longer to build. Again, the base economy of rAndy getting taken out. That laser tower did do enough damage, though, to stop any more damage being dealt. And rAndy needs to just keep rebuilding the base economy, which he is slowly doing. But at this point, Chisato should be in the stronger position. He is resurrecting all the units. He desperately needs to expand and start controlling areas. Both players just kind of throwing units at each other to see what sticks. And not saying that's not a bad idea, but with rAndy now moving his commander into this location, I expect the D-gun to take out a large chunk. He does group them up, manages to keep them away from the commander. Commander's laser doing a good job at harassing. The factory is down to half health, and all of the wind economy is again been destroyed. Some great harass here. Chisato just pumping out as many grunts as he can, clearly going for that idea instead of just keep rAndy down, keep pushing on him, don't let him regen. And so far it's working, but he still is behind, and as long as he is not expanding, he's going to stay in that position. If this never gets repaired, unfortunately, which may come into effect if stuff actually goes there. This engineer again expanded nakedly. Oh, very well played again, Chisato, getting around the back with those two leftover units. And with rAndy not being with a bot factory, he cannot resurrect any of this stuff left over. But it is a donation of 1,000 metal in that area. So rAndy now investing in lots of laser towers. He's fed up of this happening. And he's gonna get as much laser defense as he can to secure that. This expansion engineer is just building a lot of solar to provide the energy required for this. But this force now of about 30 something units coming out, this is more than those laser towers are going to be able to cope with if Chisato groups them together and pushes rAndy at the same time. But we do see a Janus coming out. Now this could be big because that will deal with large clumps of units like these grunts, which means he is going to have to spread them out. This radar giving plenty of warning to rAndy. And I wonder what Chisato is going to do. Here we go with a big push in. Janus gets a shot off, takes off 3 grunts in a single shot. Chisato actually pulling some of the units back. Janus shot there, wasted. And doesn't really get too much there. Starting to clear up the economy in the corner, perhaps. But rAndy, at this moment in time, definitely contained. Chisato deciding to build armed metal extractors in his expansion here to kind of stop the raids. And surprisingly enough, Chisato still in his base. Hasn't left. Now, we are seeing an interesting transition here. Chisato deciding to switch to air. And that raid does take out the expansion economy of rAndy. And I've never seen rAndy on so much of a back foot here. Transition from rAndy into stouts. Hoping that with a bit more firepower he'll be able to hold out. But look at the swarm of grunts coming in here now. Janus hits a blitz but doesn't kill it. rAndy getting some scouts out now just to kind of see what Chisato's doing. Realizes there's a bit of a break in the combat here. And we see Chisato building bombers. Thing is, it's not like he has a lot of grouped economy. If he comes in this direction, then the bombing run will be quite effective. But yes, the use of shurikens are going to do a decent job here. And he is aware, though, that air is inbound due to the shuriken being spotted. And it does seem like the bombers are going for the opposite angle here. But I don't know what the bombers are going to do that he couldn't already have been doing with his units. And also, with the building of this many bombers, he is sacrificing the land, which is allowing rAndy here to start building up some forces. Don't know if this was necessarily the right choice here. There we go. The Janus taking out a big group. Here come the bombers. Again, don't think this was the right angle to attack. And they take out a single LLT. And a couple of wins. They're going to go for the factory. Construction turret, factory. And he's going to try and pull them out now, but I don't think that was really worth the transition at all. Meanwhile, Chisato has now decided to switch to vehicles, which I think is a good choice here. Somehow he's got res bots in the top here, resurrecting the expansion. Good shout. Surprised they managed to get up there so easy. The Shuriken's doing a good job here at just guarding the expansion from scouts. And we have some energy being built in the bottom corner here. Chisato definitely in control of this match. But it's only his game to lose at this point. He is not able to actually produce enough build power to use all of his metal at the moment. And this bomber will just deal with the scout. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, so this is well played by Chisato. Doing a great job at containing the legend that is rAndy here. And he's just been hit hard so many times. rAndy still not giving up though. And is actually forcing Chisato back. Chisato has the advantage when it comes to units here, but instead deciding to fall back and just kind of hang on a little bit. These bombers could be useful though in attacking this force, and we do see them getting moved in here. And a combination of these shurikens coming in may be what they need to actually start doing an attack with all of his units, but no, pulling the bombers off instead. How big Chisato's army is in comparison. Bombers trying just manually them around. Air defense being built though now. Shuriken's completely useless. Chisato really should just make a move. He's got the unit advantage. Commander was there as well. It'd be definitely in his favor, but instead choosing not to. Chisato needing to still spend a bit more metal. He's getting more construction turrets and energy converters on the go because he is producing a lot more energy. And we see some forces of Chisato here getting cut off. Is he going to make the most of this with the forces and pincer them? No, he is not. He's letting rAndy get this much control. He needs to be pushing him back. He had such a strong footing at the beginning, keeping him in his base, but now he's just letting him walk out. Come on, Chisato, you got this. I believe in you. You can do it. Oh, we see the forces being pulled off here. Is he going to use these tanks separately to take them out? No. Meanwhile, in the base, quickly, rAndy just pushing out tanks as quick as he can. He still hasn't got any of the expansion maxes. The only maxes he has is in the middle. Bombers are now useless. Flying around, not actually doing anything and just getting shot down. Now here we see rAndy's commander getting blocked off here. Some very smart micro with these brutes. Locking rAndy in this hole. These units can get behind. rAndy, has he given up? No, he's still falling back. Commander is surrounded, and this looks like this might be the end for rAndy as he's... Yep, there he goes. Chisato wins. rAndy loses. Can't see I've ever seen a game where rAndy loses. Well done, Chisato. That's amazing raiding. You did a great job at keeping rAndy contained. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one as much as I have. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.